Hello again. This is your instructor for Business 611, Tracy Valduzzi. And in this video lecture, we are going to be looking at leadership theories and the levels of analysis of leadership. At the end of this lecture, you will be able to identify and discuss the different levels of analysis of leadership, leadership theories, and recognize leadership theory paradigms. We are going to first talk about the levels of analysis of leadership theory. Throughout the next few slides, we are going to discuss leadership theory on three different levels: the individual level, the group level, and the organizational level. We will start with the most concentrated level, the individual, and work our way out to the organizational level. I do want to point out, though, you will see on this slide all the levels of leadership theory are connected to each other. They do overlap, which supports the claim that leadership is everyone's business. So let's take a look at the individual level. As you will see, the individual level focuses on the individual leader and their relationship with individual followers. Research on leadership recognizes that leaders at the individual level have a significant impact on team, department, and organization performance because so much of the focus is on the relationship with the individual followers. The individual leader-follower relationship assumes that to be effective at leadership, the relationship needs to be examined over time to understand how the leaders and followers influence each other. So now we're going to move on to the group level, which, as you probably can assume, the group level is made up of individuals, and groups are defined as a collective of individuals who are interdependent on each other. There is a unique connection between a group leader and their followers, and the group leader is accountable for performance and accomplishments of the group, which is also why a big part of the group level examines the group process on how the leader contributes to group effectiveness and how the leadership role is in meetings. So, organizational level, and again, as you can assume, the organizational level encompasses the group level, which does encompass the individual level, which is also why it's considered the largest level and must maintain a big picture perspective, as organizational performance depends on all stakeholders' ability to effectively assess and adapt to environmental changes and acquire all necessary resources to survive. Now, again, we're going to discuss the interrelationships among the levels. So here we take a look at how each level of leadership relates to each other. We can see here that if the individual is successful, it is more likely that the group will be successful, which in turn makes the organization more likely to be successful. However, the same does hold true if the if the individual is a low performer. It will directly affect the other two levels. A question I would all like you to consider is, if an individual at a lower level is successful, can that counterbalance a leader in a higher level position who may perform at a bit of a lower level? You don't have to answer that question out loud if you don't want to, because as you are aware, no one's going to hear you. Just want you to contemplate that. So that leads us into the leadership paradigm. And a leadership paradigm, as explained on this slide, it represents the shared mindset representing a fundamental way of exploring and understanding leadership. Paradigms provide a mental framework through which researchers can examine ideas and propose approaches to researching something. In our case, it's researching the experiences of leadership. So over the next few slides, we're going to take a look at the different leadership theories and the classifications of leadership theories. But first, what is a leadership theory? A leadership theory is an exploration of an aspect of leadership that attempts to better understand, predict, and/or control leadership. As we're all aware, there has been a vast and extensive interest in leadership and leadership theories, not only for knowledge's sake and to answer the age-old question of whether or not leaders are born or made, but it also helps organizations come up with ideas to predetermine individuals who could potentially make good leaders. So it helps us to figure out ways to build our leadership from the bottom up. Here we we see the different classifications of leadership theory. You have your trait theory of leadership, behavioral theory of leadership, the contingency leadership theory, and the integrative leadership theory. And we're going to discuss all of these in detail. So the trait theory of leadership. It attempts to identify distinct physical and psychological traits of individuals that account for effective leadership. This theory is based on the thought that all people are born with certain characteristics or traits or qualities, and they possess the same innate qualities and characteristics of other strong leaders. It is important to know that while there are examples of traits that all successful leaders do possess, there is no universal list of traits that will guarantee leadership success. Next, we look at behavioral leadership theories. The behavioral theory is a response to criticism of the trait theory. Researchers supporting the behavioral theory viewed leadership as a set of behaviors instead of innate qualities and characteristics. So they took this theory and used it to evaluate the actions of successful leaders and develop a list of actions to identify patterns indicating leadership styles. And I know that I'm giving you a very quick overview of these theories, but you can definitely go back to your book and read in more depth, or read some articles on it. Next, we take a look at the contingency leadership theories. The contingency leadership theory is based on the idea that there is no one best style of leadership for everyone at every time. This theory supports the idea that a leader's effectiveness is based on current situations, which those types of situations and that style of leadership will be discussed in a later section, but feel free to read about it in your book again. Lastly, we look at integrative leadership theories. And as you can see here, the integrative theory attempts to combine all the other theories. This theory is an approach that supports a collective action across all theories to understand leadership and leaders' behaviors. And this theory is actually used across all different kinds of organizations and actually even countries. So it's pretty interesting. As you will know, up to this point, we have not touched on management, and that is because of the paradigm shift from management to leadership. This slide discusses that paradigm shift. So as you can see, we have shifted from the older autocratic management style to more newer participative leadership styles of management. We focus on how to integrate management and leadership, developing leadership skills. We can point out successful leaders can become good at managing, and successful managers can become good leaders. So on that note, we are going to end this video lecture with a discussion question. It has been said by some that hard skills such as finance and quantitative analysis are more important for managers than soft skills such as developing relationships and leadership, while others say the opposite is true. What do you think? I would like to thank you for your time and just to say thank you for attending this video lecture, and I look forward to our next one. Have a great day.